Oh, okay.
We are!
So you can search, there we are. We're back on YouTube now, so just search Tay and J Show and you'll find us where we usually are.
Oh, I don't do the roll. Harry always does like you're shooting a bow, like the cool athletes do.
Oh, yeah.
But then he does the roll with it or something. You can tell I'm old.
So this is, it's interesting to just kind of pop. I was watching the Cubs game.
It is interesting to do this.
Cubs-Cardinals game, and thinking, it's funny because I enjoy doing the show, right?
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, and this is a bad example for me because I hated playing baseball, but think back to your Little League days, right?
Yep.
And you probably enjoyed it to an extent.
I did.
But what about those days where thunderstorms are around and they canceled practice?
Oh, that stunk.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I loved canceled practices and canceled games.
No, I loved going.
Oh.
Well, now practices maybe were a little monotonous.
Well, the point being, and I think you'd agree, that we enjoy doing the show, but there was a part during that Cubs game where it really slowed down in the 6th and 7th.
It did. Like the 7th inning, it slowed down. Because you basically baseball is a 3-hour game. So you essentially look at the first 3 innings to take an hour. Mm-hmm. Next 3 to take an hour, et cetera. That's how you kind of base it. So when I'm sitting at the office, which was awesome, I got to work at the office all day today. That's something I don't get to do very often. So it was wonderful. But when I'm sitting there and I'm looking at into the third, where are we at? That game started at 1:20. It ended in the third.
2:15 or so.
Yeah, it was like 2:15, 2:20. And I'm like, uh-oh, we're ahead of schedule, actually. At that, well, no, wait, I thought it was like 2:10.
Actually, you're right. It was like 50 minutes for the first 3. And I do that too. I like separate it into thirds.
Yes.
And as we're watching it, it's getting close to 4 o'clock, and it might have been top of the 8th.
Yeah.
And then,
well, then they tied it.
Yeah.
So when the Cubs tied it, then, we are at the mercy of whenever that game ends, plus a post game. So I know in the past we've had it to where we just got to the point where Jeremy and I are like, forget it. We're calling it. Yeah. We're not going to go on for 5 minutes.
We're calling it basically like a baseball game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
we're not going to go on
for time to get this in? No.
Right.
No, it's not worth it. We'll see you Monday.
All right, St. Joe fans and area fans, we're keeping track and an eye on both of those games. Again, the softball game, Carp, if you can update us on that one, I'll update the baseball.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the 7th inning. St. Joe with a 2-1 lead over Palos Heights, which is a Chicago Christian school. The winner of that then would face either Orion or, shockingly, Titopolis. T-Town always seemingly in basketball and baseball finals. But if the Spartans hold on and win that, we're going to visit with Josh Haley this hour later on.
And Craig Choate from WCIA3. You can follow him on Twitter at Craig W. Choate. That's CHOATE. Final in 5 innings. St. Joseph Ogden 13. The Pinckneyville Panthers 0.
Okay, so there is a run rule.
And, yeah, there is, and they will advance to the state title game.
The old Pinckneyville Panthers, another team that is in the playoffs all the time. Their softball team's always good. I used to cover that team when I was in Southern Illinois, and great athletics there in Pinckneyville all around, but their softball team always good. So we're going to visit with Randy Wolkin about 5:20, 5:25, right in that area, and if Josh Haley's St. Joe baseball team can advance as well to the state title game, we'll cover that. Think about that for just a second. We do not, admittedly, talk much high school sports on our show. And I know that rankles a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people in the area that would love for us to cover more high school, and we apologize. We just don't know much about it.
Right.
I know everything about baseball, high school baseball, and high school softball, but we just do not cover it on a basis to where we could sit here and talk educational, right?
Right, and that we would actually know what we're talking about.
That's exactly what I mean.
That's why it's good to get a guy like Randy Wolkin on, and he was on a few weeks ago when it was me and Austin, actually, after his 1,000th win. So a few weeks later, here they are again.
Here it is. But to have one school be playing possibly, and I'm not jinxing the baseball team right now. I'm saying it right now. I'm not going to jinx you on this. But if you had one school playing for both the state baseball title and the state softball title in the same year, same day.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine, and I don't think we have the crack guys like ESPN does to go back and look at this unless Austin wants to tackle this and our interns. But I can't imagine that's happened very often where the same school has had a baseball team and a softball team play for a state title on the same day and the same year. But we will have a chance, hopefully, to talk to both of those coaches a little bit later this hour and get you up to speed on that. I want to ask you about the NBA game last night. Cleveland and Golden State.
God.
I think going into this, you kind of had the feeling that Golden State would win this. Jeremy and I both picked Golden State in 6. I thought, and again, it comes back to LeBron for me. That and last night I saw one of your tweets that LeBron is as good as ever.
Well, and it's funny because today there was someone that responded like, "Oh yeah, well, what happened the rest of the game?" And that tweet didn't age quite as well based on Game 1, but he still is a killer. But the problem is the Warriors are so
they're good
stacked, and If I were to have a rooting interest in the series, well, let's be honest, I kind of do. Like, I want the Cavs to win. I don't like the Warriors.
Yeah.
And they have become...
Which is interesting because I don't sense a lot of people hate the Warriors.
Well, here's my issue with them. And I hate to sound like old school 90s NBA basketball guy. I don't want to pull a Charles Barkley or, for that, I don't know if Michael Jordan's really even spoken about it. But back then, part of the fun of it, and you can also blame LeBron a little bit for this.
Yep.
The cuddly nature, all the friendships among these star players, when back in the day they all hated each other.
Oh, they did, totally.
I mean, the stories of how they froze Isaiah Thomas out of the Dream Team back in '92.
Exactly.
People literally hated Isaiah Thomas. Or Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson.
Even Larry and Magic, I think they had a mutual respect for each other, but they couldn't wait to beat each other.
So I think having grown up with Jordan, you want more of an edge, right? Mm-hmm. So the problem I have with the Warriors is I would almost prefer them to be complete jerks on the court.
Okay.
But there's this sort of shiny veneer.
Likability to them?
Yeah, this sort of empty likability where when I watch sports, I want to be able to get kind of pumped up into it and have a good guy and a bad guy.
Yes, right.
And the Warriors don't give that to you easily.
No, they don't.
We were talking before the show, and Pat, who works here, came in and he asked, does LeBron James complain that much in every game? And I'm like, yeah. Now, that doesn't bother me because Jordan did the same thing.
Correct.
And I'm okay with the star being kind of a whiny, here's the thing, I get the calls. I get the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
And I've started to like LeBron now that he is kind of accepted this, I'm the best player in the game, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be frustrating when the series only goes 5 games and the Warriors waltz their way to a championship, which I think is what's going to happen, and that they aren't going to go anywhere for the foreseeable future. And as a fan that likes a little bit of parity,
right?
That's kind of just you shrug your shoulders and say, well, is this going to be the same thing every June?
I agree, and Jeremy and I talk about this a lot, and he's a guy, and I respect it, he's a guy that likes dynasties. He loves dynasties because the dynasty is that team like the Yankees were back in the day. Even I wouldn't say the Cardinals in that last decade were a dynasty, but they got to the point where everybody hated them, right? They hated the whole best baseball fans in America. They hated the Cardinals, the fact that every year they were winning, and it just got to be annoying. But I don't know that they would be quite the dynasty like the Yankees were when they were rolling through, and the Bulls were with Jordan and such. But it is interesting because Kevin Durant has said he's loving it, man. He's like, I will take less money to play in Golden State because I love what I'm doing right now, and I love the guys I play with.
I think the equivalent would be if during the the Bulls went 6-0, but let's just say during the Bulls run, I'm trying to think of a really good player in the league. If Reggie Miller.
Luke Longley.
Like Reggie Miller and the Pacers, they can't get it done.
Yeah, so he switches to the Bulls.
He goes to the Bulls.
Right.
Okay, well, that's not really any fun.
No, right.
Or a better example would be the Bulls and the Knicks had a great rivalry.
Yeah.
But the Bulls never had the all-star center. They had good centers.
Yeah,
but not
they did.
Okay, so Patrick Ewing says, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm going to go play for the Bulls and win a title.
Now, if you ask Patrick Ewing now, would you have preferred to have won a title or two with the Bulls than toiling over in New York and never getting one? He would have said, absolutely, I would have done that.
I don't know why most guys don't go for championships instead of the money.
But there was something so, championships are how we measure players.
Right.
But there was something so transparently, I'm only going to Golden State to win championships in the easiest way possible.
Exactly.
The path of least resistance.
So have you lost some respect for Kevin Durant for doing that? In other words, have you lost respect to the point of you're only doing that for championships? I don't mind it.
No, I don't lose any respect for him because it would be disingenuous of me to rank players based on championships they won.
Okay.
Because in a way, I think we have tiers, right?
Yeah.
So we have the greatest players in any given sport, and the common denominator for the most part is championships.
Without a doubt.
And then you throw out a name like Dan Marino, and you could say there's always that caveat.
Right.
He's one of the greatest quarterbacks I ever saw. But he never won a Super Bowl title.
Yeah, and John Elway had that until he won his 2.
What if Jim Kelly had won a Super Bowl title?
Yeah, exactly.
He would be in the discussion.
Right.
But we don't include him because
Jim Kelly was a hell of a quarterback.
Oh, my God.
And, yeah, he goes 0 for 4. Thurman Thomas was a hell of a running back.
Right.
Andre Reed was a heck of a wide receiver, and yet all those guys go 0 for 4 in the Super Bowl.
So I think for me, it's just that it's not – last year's finals were only entertaining when the Cavs made their comeback.
Right.
Right? I mean, it was going the direction of this being a 5-game series.
Got it.
And maybe the same thing could happen this year. But whereas the margin for error that the Warriors had last year was pretty small.
Sure.
or it's pretty wide, I should say. It's even wider now.
It is.
Because Steph Curry could disappear for a game. He could have disappeared completely last night, and Durant would have been enough to carry that team because he's the second best player in the league.
It is amazing. I mean, it truly is amazing. And you're looking at this, and I'm even thinking to myself, what more can Cleveland do next year? What more could they do next year? Let's say they lose in 5 or they get swept here. What more can Cleveland do next year to try to catch up to Golden State? There's not much they can do.
No,
you've got Kevin Love. You've got Kyrie Irving. You have a great supporting cast around LeBron James, and yet you may get crushed in this final. And guess what? Golden State's going to return everybody next year. I mean, if Durant stays there, then you've got Durant, you've got Clay, you've got Steph, you've got Draymond, and you still have some veterans on that team as well. And Iguodala, I don't know how much longer he will play.
And they won't be able to maintain that entire team, but at a minimum, they're going to be able to maintain Curry, Durant,
and Clay.
Probably Clay.
Yeah, and Draymond. I think they all have relatively solid contracts that they're able to sign those guys.
So there's nothing that the Cavs can do in the immediate future to you aren't going to get another Durant because there's only one Durant.
Right.
The guy's a Hall of Fame player.
Exactly.
He's a 6'10" shooting guard.
Yeah. Oh, that's what's amazing about him.
Figure that,
It's amazing.
And it is just I don't know, like if I were a Cavs fan, it'd be a suffocating feeling. Like you feel on one hand, like thank God we got the title last year.
Well, that's how I think.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I would think. I'd be like, listen, we may not get another one. I mean, LeBron may not get another one.
Right, and that's a shame in that as we write the story about LeBron, because frankly, no offense to Steph Curry or even for that matter Kevin Durant.
Right,
Kevin Durant could beat LeBron in 3 consecutive finals. But whereas the caveat for a lot of people is he never won a title, the caveat for Kevin Durant is always going to be he joined this group of guys.
Sure.
Even if he's the best player on that team. And I know some would argue with that. I think Jeremy would, because if Kevin Durant is the best player on these teams, you could argue similar to how LeBron won it with the Heat.
Right.
Those were LeBron's championships.
Yep.
But the Warriors had already won one
exactly
2 years before. And I don't know. It's just I hope that game 2 we see at least a close game so we can go back to Cleveland and say, well, Cleveland could steal 2 here, and that's all they had to do the year before. So it's at the same time, you see the way that the second, third, and fourth quarter went.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that's closer to what you're going to see this series than the first.
It is interesting in any sport, and we've got Dan and Muhammad. We're going to get to you, Dan, here in a second, talk NBA. In any sport, it's interesting always to look ahead. And you look at, I'm going to bring up an example of the Chicago Cubs right now. The Cubs win the World Series last year. They've got a team, a roster, minus the pitching, which I think Theo will address, that could compete for a World Series title for the next 5 years. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but and that's the one thing, though, is baseball, even if you have that roster set up, it's such a crapshoot.
It totally is.
NBA has never been a crapshoot.
Never been, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up. But you look at the Cubs now, and like last year, I started thinking, who's going to challenge them for the next 5 years? Now, the Dodgers
always
are good.
does, right?
And guess what? Guess what Houston's doing right now in the American League? They look like a team they look like the Cubs last year, where you look at Houston now going, are they going to win the next 5? But you're right. It's such a crapshoot in baseball. It's so different. All right, 359-2255. We go to the Jupiters, the Crossing phone line. Dan is in Muhammad. How you doing, Dan?
Doing great, guys. Enjoy the discussion.
Thank you.
Mike brought up about how Durant's move to the Warriors was kind of transparent about winning championships. And the first thought I had was, isn't that what LeBron did with bringing Wade and Bosh to Miami?
Yes, he was the first one to do
it, really.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask what the difference was, but Mike, you said it about 2.5 minutes ago when you said the Warriors had already won one.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a great.
And so I mean, I kind of got deflated if you're listening. It's like, oh, he already shot down my reason, so to speak. But,
no, that's a great thought, though, Dan.
Yeah, Durant was just following the crowd at chow time there, trying to get the ring like the Big Three did in Miami.
Amen, buddy. We appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for the call. It is interesting too, and Jeremy and I have spoken to this at the time when he left Cleveland. He was a villain, and not just because of I'm going to win 4, 5, 6, whatever. Yeah. But you felt like, LeBron, that's your home, man. And you've got a chance to bring a city that has never won titles. You have a chance to bring that home. But in reality, and like Jeremy and I pointed out, the reason they're able to win a title now, Cleveland, is because he left.
Yep.
Because LeBron left and went to Miami, they were able to retool things in Cleveland and add some pieces that when he came back, now they've got a championship caliber team. Whereas before, yes, I know he led them to the finals the one year and didn't win. But before, LeBron probably wouldn't win a title in Cleveland until he got that supporting cast, which they got because he left.
Exactly. That's a good point. I mean, Kyrie Irving was essential to them winning last year, and they would have, if you don't suck in that interim,
right,
you don't get Kyrie Irving. So it's not one of those everything happens for a reason sorts of things, but almost.
Yeah.
I think with the Durant move, what initially surprised me about that was because we had already seen it with LeBron, and we saw the public blowback towards LeBron after having made that. Now, Kevin Durant didn't do any fancy decision thing.
No, he didn't.
I think there might have been some article on the Players Tribune, which all these athletes are doing. Whenever they leave a city or whenever they come to a new one, they write this big, long article about how much they love that city. And from all accounts, he was not super happy in Oklahoma City. And that offense didn't always fit him. I mean, Russell Westbrook is a shoot-first point guard.
Yep.
And you only have so many shots to go around. And the Warriors... the way they play is
unreal.
It is beautiful basketball. It is. Is this weird of me to say that because it is so dependent on the 3-point shot that I feel as if it is novelty basketball to an extent?
Okay. I think that's fair.
And I'm saying that as an Illinois...
That's the way basketball is going, right?
And that in 04-05, how did Illinois do what they did?
Yeah.
Great defense was always there.
Absolutely.
And they made a lot of 3-pointers. That's a very dangerous thing right there. But I think it's... Having grown up with Jordan, I need to sometimes remove myself from that nostalgia and the way that the game was played, and that I continue to kind of use that as my default. This is NBA basketball at its best.
It's changed.
And now that it's changed and we're looking at a potential dynasty here with the Warriors, a very young team. I mean, Durant's still a young guy.
Yes,
he played 1 year in college.
Yes, he is.
So this is, I hope it's a better series, and after one quarter... It looked like it was going to be a great series, and it still could be. Game 2.
You never know.
Game 2, LeBron could come out and do his thing, and he was
still
fine
have LeBron on the court. And it's interesting you brought up that how the game is changing. It's especially the college game, and well, not especially the NBA game as well to the 3-point shots. And John Gross's squad led basketball in 2-point shots.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just trying to
get
under
terrible
your
2-point shooting percentage.
Under your skin on that.
The 18-footer, the patented 18-foot offense. We also had this text from the 217. What about Boston's big three? Was LeBron in Miami really the first? And that's a good point. I mean,
that is a good point with Pierce and
Garnett, Ray Allen, and that was kind of a precursor to this whole thing. But even then, you still had 4, 5, 6 potential champions.
Right.
This is truly Cavs, Warriors.
Yes.
And we could see this series for the next 3-4 years, and that's fine as long as they're good series. And that's why last year it felt like, okay, you take away the Cavs' amazing comeback having been down 3-1.
Unreal.
Those first 4 games were not very compelling.
No.
And it was only the comeback that we look back on and say, what a great NBA Finals.
That's a good point.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it just happened to have an amazing Game 7 that really saved the legacy of what otherwise is a pretty forgettable finals.
Speaking of great games, it looks like St. Joe Baseball is in the midst of one right now. They're now tied at 2.
Oh, no.
With Palos Heights. I think Palos Heights is the visitor here, and they scored a run in the top of the 7th to tie that game. So right now we are kind of waiting on hold for Coach Haley to see if St. Joe Baseball wins. But when we come back, we're going to get Randy Wolkin on the line and talk to him. I believe, that is the final. You mentioned that, 13-0 in 5 innings. So the softball team gets it done. Randy Wolkin will play for a state title and the St. Joe Ogden Spartans. So when we return, we'll talk about that. And if we get a chance before the hour's up and St. Joe Baseball wins, we'll get a chance to visit with Josh Haley. We still need to talk about Jalen Coleman-Lands.
Yes, officially was granted his release by Illinois last night. We will read Brad Underwood's statement, just a 1-paragraph statement on Jalen Coleman-Lands leaving the program.
As far as we know right now, he has not made a decision on where he's going next.
Nothing official. I know there's some rumblings about DePaul, and that make a lot of sense with his connection with Shane Herman and a quick little trip for his parents from Indiana.
Absolutely.
But that is official now after a lot of, we knew this, I guess, last Monday.
Right.
But now you can finally just kind of wash your hands of it and move on.
Should I find it cool that Shane Herman followed me on Twitter?
That's kind of cool.
All of a sudden I was like, that's interesting.
But what's not cool is potential tampering.
No, right. You think he was going through me to get to JCL?
Not you.
I think that's what he was doing.
Not you, but a tamperer may be following you. not casting dispersions, as Stephen A. Smith would say. But
exactly.
I guess I am a little bit.
That's awesome.
But well, I mentioned transparent earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing. I think now, maybe it's me getting older, I don't know, but sometimes you just see things and you're like, of course.
Oh, it is you getting older.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it just skepticism?
Yes, that's what happens as you get older.
Oh,
It
no.
really, I'm sorry, man. And I've got, 20 years on you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's basically what happens. The older you get, you just get bitter about it.
I'm just falling into this trap of like, oh, yep, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Not even
what,
trying to hide it. Nothing vague.
Nope. That's
Things
why
just obvious.
Jeremy laughs at me all the time because I'm like, oh, of course he would strike out there. Of course Sierra would miss that ball and left and the Cubs would score. Of course. And the Cubs did, by the way. They did score, and they did win 3-2 over the Cardinals. You heard that right here. All right, when we return, we are going to make an effort to get Randy Wilkins, St. Joe's softball coach, on our airwaves. And hopefully before the end of the show, maybe talk with Josh Haley, St. Joe baseball team. Both programs looking for state titles, and the softball squad in the state title now. So we'll talk to Coach when we return. It is the Tay and J Show.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. For a limited time, Lands is offering special financing for 6 years or up to $1,000 trade-in allowance. Your choice, with approved credit on any qualifying train system. So call Lands at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR for details, or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands. You can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands or visit train.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 2000 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 2000.
Check out the new BMW of Champaign. It's not like the old Twin City. They have new on-site local ownership since 2013, along with a new state-of-the-art facility. With a Customer First Service Award winner for 2015, BMW of Champaign does business your way. Yes, they have tons of cars. Yes, they'll get you what you want. Yes, they discount, deal, and even pick up and deliver. So stop in, ask for Ben, and give BMW of Champaign a look. BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy.
The official fan store of the Fighting Illini is moving. Game Day Spirit, currently located at 1422 South Neal Street, is moving to the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign this July. In the meantime, they're preparing for the lowest prices of the season to be available during their moving sale in June. Stay tuned for more information and follow them on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching Game Day Spirit. Stay in the know of all things Game Day and all things Fighting Illini with Game Day Spirit, the official fan store of the Fighting Illini. Going on 5 years, Rock's Place in St. Joseph has become the neighborhood sports bar and grill for a lot of folks in the area. Rock's Place is known for their delicious burgers, and they also have great daily food and drink specials. Plus, Rock's has plenty of TVs, so you can keep tabs on the Cubs and Cardinals all summer long. And while you're there, press your luck on one of Melody Music's video gaming machines. For delicious food, cold drinks, and good company, make it Rock's Place, 101 North Main Street in St. Joseph. Find them on Facebook, ROCHS in St. Joseph. Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. When you work with GTPS, you'll never have to call an 800 number in a different state. You deal with people who live and work in our community and know it's important to your business. GTPS is your local source for business insurance, property, general liability, workers' compensation, and group health insurance, and they'll work with you to formulate the best package for the needs of you and your business. Contact a GTPS insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Pekin Insurance and your local independent agent are committed to providing the best coverage options and the best service possible. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at PekinInsurance.com and on social media. Check them out on Facebook at Facebook.com/Pekin Insurance. It's a great way to learn more about insurance for your auto, home, life, or business. You'll stay up to date with important announcements. Plus, they'll throw in a few fun facts along the way. For beyond the expected information, follow Pekin Insurance on Facebook today.
Here's something very cool to kick off the summer. Memorial Day savings of up to 40% on appliance special buys at the Home Depot. Get a Whirlpool stainless steel top freezer refrigerator for just $498. You save over $250. Its LED interior lighting truly puts your food in the spotlight. Nobody beats our prices, guaranteed, with up to 40% off appliances at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through June 7th, U.S. only while supplies last. See store for details.
Experience what makes Eastland Suites the best.
Like unique accommodations for guests who need extended stays, full kitchens, patio and balcony access, and grills in the courtyard for cookouts.
Extended stay guests also love the free Wi-Fi, fitness center, and complimentary hot buffet breakfast.
And Tanya, don't forget about the full-service lobby bar, large swimming pool, and the free shuttle, and the...
Experience the best. Experience Eastland Suites. Book online at eastlandsuitesurbana.com.
The Snyder Company.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show, and it is also summertime, which is a great time to head out to Houlihan's for patio play. They just had the first one last night, and a really good one coming up next Thursday with the Nickel and Dimes Band.
Sweet.
Also, if you want to pop out there tonight and sit on their awesome patio, Friday drink specials include $4 Long Island iced teas.
Whoa, those would get you in trouble.
For a glass, yes, and a $6 Long Island iced tea pitcher.
Whoa.
So spread the wealth.
Nice.
At Houlihan's tonight. Of course, amazing appetizers and entrees. A great, beautiful bar in the middle of it. A really good night to head out to Houlihan's at the I Hotel, of course, located on 1st Street and St. Mary's, south of the State Farm Center.
Carp, there is something about, on a nice day like today, just going outside and having a beer, right?
This is my plan. Show ends.
Yep.
Going to go pick up some Cactus Grill.
Okay.
Chicken burrito.
Nice.
Unbelievable. Chicken burrito bowl.
Okay.
And fish burrito for the lady.
And then go slam like 6 Long Island iced tea pitchers?
No, not tonight. Even though that's a great idea. If you aren't going to Cactus Grill, go to Houlihan's.
Exactly.
And so we've been doing work on our deck.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit back there, have some dinner.
Good for you.
Maybe play some Scrabble.
Wow, that's a fun little night you got, Mr. Domesticated. Things are changing for you already.
And imbibe on a Friday night,
exactly.
And then watch a film later or something like that. But no, it is summer, so Houlihan's great partner of the Tay and J Show and Stevie J Show on ESPN 93.5, and that's a great spot for this Friday night.
I am lucky enough to have a lot of friends in St. Joe, and I know a few that will be having a few drinks tonight, celebrating
as they should be
win, and now a trip to the state final, and it is the girls softball squad at St. Joe that won today 13-0 over Pinckneyville, and we welcome in their head coach, Randy Wolkin. Coach, we always appreciate your time, especially on a day like today. Congrats on a 13-0 win, Coach.
Oh, I feel great. It's a great win for St. Joe Ogden softball. We played super well. Did everything right today.
I was going to say, Coach, we're not there, obviously, so I apologize that my information will be lacking with regards to that. But obviously, everything went right today for you guys.
Yeah, we had Andrew, of course, he had a 3-run homer. She hit a triple. We had Kenzie Pence get 4 hits today, and we used the suicide squeeze 4 to 5 times, and we were successful every time with it. So everything we did offensively was perfect. And I think we had something like 16 hits today. And defensively, they had second and third, 1 out, first inning, we got out of it. Second and third, 1 out, second inning, we got out of it.
Wow.
Bases loaded, no outs in the 4th inning, we got out of it. So, Tori Wittrick just pitched a great game, especially with people on base. She buckled down and got the outs for her. So pretty happy.
So after that bases loaded jam in the 4th, I mean, not that you would ever, especially this far into a postseason run, look ahead, right? But mentally, is it a little bit easier to go into the next game without having expended too much energy in terms of, let's say this is a 3-2 extra innings win, as opposed to the 13-0 win that you guys just had?
Right. So we only had to play 5 innings today, and it's really hot here. So I'm glad we didn't have to go any more, expend too much energy, because like you said, if you had to have a close game and had to go extra innings, it would have really been tough on my catcher and my pitcher and everybody else out there. So, yeah, it does help you. It doesn't ensure anything, but it does help.
And you'll now face either Beecher or Morrison next. What do you know about those two schools?
Morrison has a tremendous pitcher, really, really a lot of speed, and very, very good. And Beecher's defense and hitting is their forte. They have great hitters up and down the lineup and good defense. So, yeah.
Coach Wolkin joining us now. Randy Wolkin, St. Joe softball coach, longtime softball coach, 1,000 wins. I mean, Coach, I know you can't because you've got a game to win still, but it's kind of interesting to think the year you win your 1,000th game is also a year you're going to play for a state title and maybe win a state title. I mean, would that just be the happiest ending ever?
I'll tell you what, it makes you think maybe this should be the time to get out because there's not much things that would make this better. But I don't know if that's what I want to do or not because I'll tell you what, to win 1,000 was a great feeling, but to be in the championship game and possibly winning it is even a better feeling. So, it is a great year. I mean, I got a great bunch of girls.
Yeah.
A lot of players that they do a lot of things right. We run the bases well. We play good defense, and, we have good chemistry. So, I can't say enough good things about all the players on this team.
Coach, you've won a state title. You've got one. I had Austin. I was pretty sure of that, but I wanted to confirm it. You have your one state title. Compare this team to that one. In other words, what I'm asking is not to necessarily compare the teams, but that team was able to get over the throne and win it. Can this team do that? Do they have some of the same similarities?
Yeah, this team is a better hitting team than the team I had in 06. I thought our defense and our pitching there was second to none. Morgan Finn. In the 8 games in the state series from regional all the way to the championship game, we played 8 games. She gave up a total of 1 run.
Wow.
So, yeah, that lets you stay in the game when you only give up 1 run total. So, that was the main thing there. We weren't great hitters, but we played good defense, had really good pitching.
That's why you're such a great coach, right? You put somebody like that out there that's only going to give up 1 run. Coach, what does Randy...
That makes you look good as a coach if you got a girl that only gives up 1 run total. Yeah.
What does the Hall of Fame coach, Randy Wolken, what will you do tonight in preparation for either Beecher or Morrison? You alone. How much preparation goes into a state title game, and are you able to relax tonight? What will be Randy Wolken's night?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to watch this game. And I got 2 of my other coaches going to come over. We're going to go over the scouting report tonight. We'll go into it late at night. We'll look at all the hitters. We'll pick them apart, how we want to pitch them. And then we will look to see how, a lot of things that both teams do. Obviously, the team that wins, we're going to really watch them. And we'll go scouting report till late at night. And we'll get up early in the morning. We'll have a breakfast. And the girls will have the same routine that they had today. It was really amazing today. We hit this morning at 11:30, and you could just tell the girls were just a routine, the same routine that we've always had. They didn't change anything, and they were very calm, very confident. And I thought, dude, I had a lot of people say, are they ready? I go, yes, they are really ready. They weren't nervous, just really prepared and confident. And a lot of it is because the juniors and seniors were here 2 years ago. They knew what to expect. They knew what it was like to play, in a state game. And today they came out, firing. Oh, they were really ready.
I bet. And, Coach, this is my last question. We'll let you get to that other game and start scouting, but I just looked up, just refreshed it, and the St. Joe baseball team put up 3 runs in the 8th inning. They now lead 5-2 in the middle of the 8th inning.
I knew it was tied. I knew it was tied 2-2 in the 8th.
Yeah.
So that is great. Wouldn't that be something?
It would be. And that's what I wanted to ask you about. I mean, that's improbable, Coach.
Oh, gosh. The chances of that are slim and none. I'll tell you. But, our baseball program, I got to give Coach Haley a lot of credit. He lost 7 out of his 9 starters, and he's still going to be back in the championship game. To me, that's amazing. You just don't lose that many starters and still come back and play in the championship game.
It's truly amazing what both of you are doing. And, Coach, there's no doubt what you have done. And I wish you nothing but the best. I think what a cool story that would be. 1,000 wins this year and a state title. So good luck tomorrow night. I think that's first pitch. It'd be about 5:30 tomorrow.
Right. 5:30.
Well, good luck with that, Coach.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lon. I appreciate it. I appreciate you calling me, too.
Hey, not a problem, Coach. We appreciate it, buddy. Congrats. Randy Wolken, softball coach at St. Joe, a Hall of Famer. A guy that has won 1,000. Oh, he's a great dude.
What a good dude, man.
I mean, that guy, you talk about knowledge. And I love it. Hey, did you hear the small ball?
Yeah.
4 or 5. Oh, yes.
You like that.
I love that.
That's your style of baseball.
Get the bunt down. And that is good news for the St. Joe baseball team. They have put up 3 runs in the top of the 8th inning. So they now lead 5-2. Palos Heights will bat in the bottom of the 8th. If that game gets done, we will effort the last few minutes of this hour to try to get Josh Haley on, but that might be tough because they have another half inning to play here in that game. But there's the chance, Carp, for both those teams to make it to a state title game. That's crazy.
Absolutely. Should we take a quick break and come back and talk JCL?
Let's do it.
There's a JCL, and then yesterday there was a story about Bill Snyder. the Kansas State football coach, and it kind of ties into this whole transfer thing.
Okay.
And two very interesting angles on it.
Okay, I'm anxious. I kind of saw some of that, but didn't really read it, so I'm anxious to hear what you have to say about that. We'll do that next, and if we get a chance to visit with Josh Haley before the end of the show, we'll try to sneak him on for a couple of minutes. It is the Tay and J Show.
From buyers and sellers inspections before the sale, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. We also provide radon testing with results back in 48 hours. From Champaign to Savoy and Gifford to Gibson City, protect your future with AA Marshall Home Inspection Services. Get more details and schedule your inspection today at aamarshall.net.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture so you can work towards meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, Mike Kessel, your Champaign Edward Jones financial advisor at 1701 Broadmoor Drive, Suite 110. Contact me today at 217-352-0117, 352-0117. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Need an oil change? See your Champaign CarX man. Right now at CarX Tire and Auto, get a full-service oil change starting at $24.99 with tire rotation and brake inspection. From oil changes to engine repair and everything in between, CarX Tire and Auto has been serving Champaign for almost 40 years with 3 convenient locations. Your Champaign CarX man has the right oil for your vehicle at a great price, $24.99. Stop in, call, or schedule online at CarX.com.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
Mosquitoes can be a nuisance, and after a mild winter like we had, they're even worse. Let Prairie View Landscaping get rid of those pesky mosquitoes so you can enjoy the summer outdoors without bugs getting in the way. And since it's Prairie View Landscaping's 25th year in business, they're celebrating by offering up to 25% off their mosquito program. Email mypvdiscount@gmail.com for a free quote. mypvdiscount@gmail.com. And if you sign up by May 31st, you can win 2 free mosquito control applications out of 4. Prairie View Landscaping, mypvdiscount@gmail.com.
You got to watch out for cybercrime, and Busey has you covered. According to a study, $16 billion was stolen from U.S. consumers in 2016 via cybercrime. And in recognition of Internet Safety Month in June, Busey is giving you tips to help protect yourselves. Keep your computers and mobile devices up to date. Having the latest security will help protect yourself from online threats. Set strong passwords, 8 characters long, with a mix of letters, numbers, and special characters. And also keep personal information personal. Hackers can use details from your social media profiles to guess your passwords. That's crazy. With the constant changes in technology, there are always new ways for risk, and the best way to protect yourself is to be proactive. Let Busey help you fight cybercrime on the Internet Safety Month here in June. You can do it. Visit Busey.com.
It is the Tay and J Show. Harry Black, spinning tunes.
Nice.
So apparently, Lon, you didn't like the Taylor Swift song that was in Tay 8?
Oh, so Harry switched it.
He switched it up to some Stevie Ray Vaughan.
It's not that I just after a while I was like, that Taylor Swift's been on there a long time, and I always feel bad like I'm asking Jeremy to do this yesterday. In reality, I don't do any of that. Mm-hmm. So he's probably sitting here going, "Well, get your butt in here and do it then." So I felt bad. But I didn't realize Harry could do that. So we've got a new Stevie Ray Vaughan.
What was this list you failed miserably on?
Oh, it was horrible.
Well, what was it? Was it just home run leaders?
Yeah, it was just all-time home run leaders, and I couldn't think of Hank Aaron, Willie Mays.
Oh, my
Dude,
God. You got Babe Ruth in there, right?
I missed Babe Ruth, too.
Barry Bonds?
I got Bonds. I got Sosa. And then I just started throwing out, because at that point, there are just some times where I'm just mentally blank when I come in here. And there's no excuse for that, though.
Yeah.
That is as poor as anybody could ever do on a list.
So you didn't get Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, or Babe Ruth?
No. And Jeremy even said this guy is named after a month, because I was like Willie McJune. Then I just started having fun. I was guessing like Gorman Thomas, Lance Johnson, Rafi Palmeiro. I don't know. I was completely blank that day. I just could not think.
Isn't Eddie Matthews up there?
I don't know. I mean, why are you asking me that?
That's a good point.
And I know sometimes people hear that and they're like, yeah, Tay doesn't know damn thing about sports.
Eddie Matthews.
Sometimes you just have a brain issue.
All-time
which is what happens to me.
Leader.
Eddie Matthews, huh?
I thought, here we go. Good old baseballreference.com. Okay. Top 10. Barry Bonds, of course.
Yes.
Hank Aaron.
Yes.
Babe Ruth. A-Rod.
Yeah.
Number 4.
I got A-Rod, I think.
Willie Mays. Ken Griffey.
I got
Jr.
Griffey.
Wow. Jim Thome at 7.
Yeah.
Sosa.
I got that one after a hint.
Now, Pujols was why you guys were talking about this, right?
He's still at $5.99, right?
$5.99, and then 10 is Frank Robinson.
Okay.
So coming up after that, though, I don't know.
Well, we talked about that. Probably
those guys are pretty safe.
In my lifetime, we started talking about these things, and in my lifetime, Carp, and yours, I don't think of any of even the younger interns here, I don't think you'll ever see another 300-game winner in baseball.
Probably not.
I mean, I just don't think you will now.
I mean, CC Sabathia, well, no, he's still a ways away. Is he even a 200-game winner? I don't know.
I just don't think you'll ever see it.
Did you know Gary Sheffield was in the 500 home run club?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me.
509.
Is he? Really? 509?
And once to just miss it, Lou Gehrig, sadly.
Okay.
493. Fred McGriff, 493. And Stan Musial, 475.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
So big news yesterday, and this is a long time coming, but the official release of Jalen Coleman-Lands from Illinois basketball. And there was this statement from Brad Underwood. We enjoyed coaching Jalen during our time together this spring. He has indicated that he's looking for a new opportunity. We thank Jalen for his contributions here and wish him all the best moving forward.
Okay.
Short, sweet. I tweeted last night that I thought was kind of tellingly short.
Yeah.
Very brief.
What do you think the biggest reason? These are just be thoughts of you and I. We have no idea what went through the mind of Jalen Coleman-Lands. What do you think's the biggest reason why he decided to move on?
I think Jalen's personality probably just doesn't fit.
Okay.
If you think about it, it was an interesting 2 years that he was here.
Mm-hmm.
He gave you glimpses of, oh my God, this kid's got it.
He did.
But as I was, talking with Austin about earlier during the Cubs game, and I was thinking this, when the news came out, the initial thought is, oh man,
I know.
not another guy.
Right.
Mark Allstork, of course, helped ease that blow, right?
He did.
But I asked myself in trying to rationalize, it's probably not a big deal. I said, okay, what's your favorite Jalen Coleman-Lands moment?
That's interesting.
What's yours?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, okay, now that's fair. That right there is fair, and that's an interesting way to look at that. But the thing that I worry about, and I still do think this is a pretty big blow to Illinois, not just necessarily this next year, but 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. Allstork won't be here in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I know that Mark Smith, we're expecting a lot. Yeah, he might. You're expecting a lot out of Mark Smith, which you'll probably get. You're expecting a lot out of Trent Frazier, which you'll probably get. But essentially, you're taking one of the best three-point shooters in the Big Ten, and hopefully a kid that with a year of health, an off-season of health, could have come in and done a lot better. So this is my one take on this that I worry about it, is that next year and even in 2 years, you would have had a senior that is capable of hitting threes with a lot of guards that can get you open. And that was the one thing I was excited about Jalen this year, in the sense that with all these other guards, he's going to have abilities now to set up shop behind the three-point line and get wide open looks.
He would have.
However, the one thing going forward that I worried about with Jalen Coleman-Lands that I don't have to worry about anymore is his defense.
Which could be awful.
And I don't think Brad Underwood wants a guy that can basically one-dimensional player.
No.
And the fact that Jalen never really got to the rim. But, again, this isn't Aaron Jordan that left. I mean, this is a guy that averaged 10 points. He was going to be your leading scorer, I think, coming back for a team, and he can knock down threes. And I thought, maybe you don't miss him terribly, but it's hard to replace a guy like that can hit threes.
It is. And you know what? They probably aren't done in the transfer market.
No.
There's some other guys. There's a 6'3" wing that opted out of his Florida State commitment.
Okay.
And he's back on the market, and that might be someone they're looking at. There might be another big guy out there.
Right.
I mean, Cam Johnson still hasn't found a home because they won't let him go to UNC.
Isn't that crazy?
Another transfer block, which is it is ridiculous, I think. But with Jalen Coleman-Lands, I don't want this to sound too bad. He's a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, I'm 10 years older than he is. But as a fan of Illinois basketball, the spin I'll try to put on it is the continuing detoxification of the John Gross era. Bit by bit, we are purging the remnants
without a doubt.
The worst 5-year stretch in Illinois basketball history.
Crazy.
Gone.
Crazy.
Away with you. And Jalen Coleman-Lands is a good player and by all accounts a great kid. A very smart kid. what is it? A business major at the U of I, and wherever he goes, it's probably going to have to be a place that has a big business school. He has aspirations outside of basketball,
Absolutely,
which he should be commended for. But you get the feeling with Underwood that he's kind of a hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to fly with everybody.
No.
For me, there's another thing, too. And I think the Mark Smith commitment and really Brad Underwood's overall kind of confidence and swagger that he carries himself with, I'm not going to, or at least I'm going to try my very best, to not fall in these traps during recruiting battles of, I hope he comes. First off, they're kids that are 12 years younger than me, so that's kind of creepy anyways. So my new perspective
You've got
is
a new
this.
perspective.
If you want to come to Illinois, come to Illinois.
Yeah. If
you
not,
want to beat Illinois, beat Illinois. And now that you have a coach that actually has a track record, which not only suggests but proves that he knows what he's doing.
Yep.
If you're okay playing under John Gross but not under Brad Underwood, then that's okay.
Okay, that's fair
Good
enough.
luck. You don't need to be here, and it's not going to be something you can't get over.
I mean,
this goes back to the Teddy Greenstein article last week,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that he had talked to, the Jeremiah Tillman stuff, which was very illuminating.
Yes.
And then I think in that same article, Jalen Coleman-Land's missing workouts.
Right.
And if he had not chose to transfer, you would kick him off the team.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't miss workouts.
No.
No matter what the cause may be.
Right.
Instead of missing a workout, you come in a coach and say right away, this isn't for me. I'm sorry.
I'm moving on.
As opposed to, you do commit, and this is where I'm about to contradict myself maybe a bit, you do commit to a school and a program, and more importantly, the guys that you're playing with.
Sure.
So you at least owe those fellow players that have went through two coaches with you those workouts, at least showing up.
Yeah.
Or if you decide this isn't for you, let them know and just move on.
Just move on. I agree. Well, and Brad Underwood has some work to do, no doubt, not only in filling out a roster, but for next year as well. What are you laughing at?
Alex has the tweet, or the text, the best Jalen Coleman-Land's moment.
Oh.
Do you remember the buzzer beater against Chicago State in Springfield?
I was in the Bahamas. I was in the Bahamas,
God.
so I remember reading about it. So I'm like, yes!
Oh, man, it was a tie game against Chicago State. You needed to get bailed out against the 323rd best team.
If that doesn't describe the John Gross era, right?
Away with it. It's gone.
Yes.
We're purging it. We're detoxifying from that crap. And finally, and I was thinking this earlier today, and I have these thoughts every now and it's exciting to have these thoughts, that I will be excited to get back in the State Farm Center.
Okay.
It has been so long.
It has been.
It's a breath of fresh air.
How worried are you with only a roster of what? 9? Is it 9 or 10?
Not. I don't know how good this team's going to be.
Okay.
If they can get a couple other transfers and just get some bodies in there, I feel better about it, certainly. Because your margin for error is really small. And
without a doubt.
If you have an injury, things are going to go south pretty quick. But it's really tough to project what this team's going to do based on last year's team because of the turnover.
And because of the coaching.
Yeah, I mean, usually you would go, even if there were a coaching change, you would look at a roster and say, we have this many points coming back, we have this many rebounds coming back. We can't do that with this team. But in a way, that makes it all the more exciting.
Exactly. It does. And I told Jeremy that. The one thing that Jeremy even he just kind of had this moment where he looked at me and we both just kind of looked at each other like, wow, that was really philosophical to say, but I looked at him one day about the NCAA tournament and I'm like, maybe it's just not that hard to get to.
It's not.
And maybe we
not for a Big Ten.
We will now realize going forward that it's really not that hard to get to.
Do you think, if you ask Brad Underwood, to be candid with you,
yes,
are you guys going to make the NCAA tournament next year? What do you think he's going to say?
He's going to say yes.
And
he already did.
Until proven otherwise.
Yep.
Well, who am I to say? No, I don't know. They only have 9 scholarship. I mean, I think they'll ultimately end up with 11 scholarship players.
I agree.
And not all of them are going to be world beaters.
Right.
But I think you have enough pieces that fit that system that you are going to be a team that no one's looking at in the first place.
Correct.
And they're going to have struggles, but they're capable of going on runs, kind of like Oklahoma State. Yes. There is no Juwan Evans. We should caution ourselves, but there are some good pieces.
Somebody asked, does high school softball play a rover? No, they don't.
What is a rover?
Like in slow pitch, you'd have like a 10th person you can put like in left center or right center. If that's what they're talking about, no.
I remember in Little League, the early stages, maybe like Farm League and Peanut League before that, you would have left center, right center, and right.
Okay, that is not. They do not do that in girls softball. No, not in the high school level for sure. All right, St. Joe baseball has won the game 5-2. Now, it's too late for us to get Coach Haley on as we have to sign off, but I want to congratulate St. Joe. They're going to be playing for a state title in baseball and softball tomorrow.
Cool.
That is really cool. The baseball team will play either Orion, I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. And Tetopolis, T-Town, a team that always seemingly gets there. They're fast pitch teams, man. You talk about raking. Those guys, they just are great athletes down there in T-Town. So that game will be next, and then the championship tomorrow will be at 5 o'clock for the baseball team, 5:30 for the softball team. I got one funny story, Cart, before we get out of here, and we want to thank Randy Wolkin, our only guest today, as we were only on for an hour. So I asked Andrew, my 10-year-old, and I told Harry yesterday, I said the one area that I've failed as a father is that, we'll go to baseball games, we'll do stuff like that, I'll work with them on sports, but I never take my boys like hiking or like fishing. We do fish once in a while.
Yeah,
so this summer, I am actively trying to become more involved, like on Saturdays, let's say, to go do something different.
There you go.
Just do something different. So I send an email to Gene this morning, and I'm like, all right, does he want to go canoe? Does he want to go to the Indianapolis Zoo and maybe a baseball game over there? Does he want to go to Allerton Park? Does he want to, Knights Action Park in Springfield. I'm like, what does he want to do? It's a free docket for the 10-year-old. What do you want to do? And my email back to me was he wants to go putt-putting.
Well, in Andrew's defense,
that's solid, right?
I passed by the putt-putt course at Old Orchard today.
Yes.
And I thought, that'd be a lot of fun.
That's a great putt-putt course.
And it's cheap.
Yeah.
You can play a couple rounds.
Right.
It takes about an hour, short and sweet. And as a kid at that age, hiking is not really in the cards.
So I called him. I said, okay, here's the deal. How about we go to Allerton Park in the morning and we'll get on some trails.
Yeah.
I like the nature thing. I like to get out there in nature. And then we'll come back, we'll eat lunch, then we'll go play putt-putt. Is that cool? And he goes, yeah, let's do that, Dad.
All right, that's a good
So I'm
day.
picking him up at 9 and we're going, I'm picking him up. We're leaving at 9 and we're rolling out. We're going to do hiking and then putt-putting.
That's a perfect day. I'm going to U2.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow and Sunday.
Where's that at?
Soldier Field.
Nice.
Dad and I tomorrow, and a buddy and me on Sunday. And
I'm envious of the fact that you even look ahead at concerts.
Oh, yeah.
Like another summer's going to roll by where I don't even look ahead to see who's playing. Although I am going to Def Leppard on second year in a row of Def Leppard.
Indianapolis over there?
Yeah, over in Noblesville.
Yeah, that's a great venue.
Looking forward to that. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for everybody. Again, Cubbies win 3-2 over the Cardinals. They take game 1. Thanks to Randy Wolkin, St. Joe softball coach, joined us. St. Joe baseball, St. Joe softball playing for state titles tomorrow. Good luck to both squads. We're out of here. Talk to you next week. It's the Tay and J Show. DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original Calzone company.
Baseball is back at Pia's, and Pia's is your home for the world champion Chicago Cubs. Enjoy the game while filling up with their famous 10-ounce Slugger Burger, along with great wings and so much more. Watch the Cubs all season long at Pia's Sports Bar. With live video gaming, great drinks, sports, food, and fun. See you at Pia's, West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
Home is where the art is. It's where every day begins and ends. It's a place for big occasions and small. Home is where stories unfold and where they are told. We may leave, but we always come home again. First Financial Bank can help you achieve the home of your dreams. Talk with one of our friendly loan officers and we'll help you find the loan that's right for you. Consider it our way of saying welcome home. From First Financial Bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall. All you have to do is call Matex Heating and Cooling to take advantage of Train's Weather Any Season sale. Weather Any Season sale. sale. Choose between special financing for 6 years or special trade-in allowances on qualifying train systems. Call 355-9700 or visit us online at mattexservice.com for more information. It's hard to stop a train. Any season, any weather. Matex Heating and Cooling, servicing East Central Illinois.
Subject to credit approval. Call for details.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm John Brickley, the Chicago